Authorization level Omega clearance, which I technically shouldn't possess but discovered the override codes during a maintenance audit nobody thought to properly secure. Her tentacles paused mid-gesture. There are observation reports dating back millennia. Ships maintaining watch positions in Earth's outer system, anthropological studies, cultural development, eyes focused on the human blade with renewed analytical precision. If contact occurred during his mind assembling puzzle pieces that didn't want to fit together cleanly. You said there are observation reports. What did those reports say about us? Elorix's translator implant worked overtime processing archaic council documentation, her whiskers twitching with growing real information finally breaking free. I've seen fragments of these records during security clearance reviews. The justifications for delayed contact centered on human warfare capabilities being deemed destabilizing to galactic political balance. Council feared introducing space-capable humanity would shift power dynamics they'd spent millennia establishing. So you watched us. Israel's voice carried edge sharp enough to match the blade before him. Studied us, maybe even stole from us. Then kept quiet, because we made you nervous. Pyrex laughed. Not just nervous, kid. Terrified. Want to know the real secret buried in these archives? Your species taught alien observers how to properly forge weapons. Those early contact missions didn't just watch. They traded, learned, brought back techniques that transformed galactic metallurgy from ritual-based guesswork into actual science. The implications crashed through the assembled group like shockwave through atmosphere. Felgar's translator unit produced static that even Commander Nix's holographic tentacles drooped slightly as processing demands exceeded comfortable parameters. You're claiming, Felgar managed after reboot attempts on his translator, that galactic weapons technology originated from human sources? That our legendary smiths learned techniques from primitive Earth metallurgists? Not claiming. Stating documented fact, buried under classification protocols and convenient historical revision. Pyrex gestured at the vault around them. These terrible weapons represent what galactic civilizations produced before human techniques became available. After contact and knowledge transfer, weapons quality improved dramatically across all species. Council classified the source because admitting technological inferiority to species they'd categorized as developing violated their superiority narrative. Israel picked up the human blade again, feeling weight that transcended This information contradicts every official historical record. Publishing it would distort accepted narratives. Elorix's fur settled into determined patterns that indicated decision reached through ethical calculation. We publish everything. Historical truth matters more than comfortable lies, regardless of political consequences. Civilizations built on deliberate deception deserve disruption. Commander Nix processed this suggestion with visible calculations scrolling across holographic interfaces surrounding her projection. Publishing would trigger diplomatic crisis spanning multiple sectors. Council members who maintained classification would face accountability inquiries. Academic institutions would require complete historical curriculum revision. Economic markets based on perceived technological superiority would destabilize. Good, Israel said simply. Maybe everyone needs reminder that superiority complexes built on lies eventually crumble when someone asks basic questions about balance. Pyrex began transferring data from vault archives to portable storage devices he'd somehow produced from his maintenance coveralls. I've been preparing for this exposure for decades, Coles works. If we're burning down comfortable fictions, might as well achieve comprehensive coverage. The group worked efficiently, copying archive contents and preparing information packages for distribution across galactic communication networks. Felgar assisted despite knowing this evidence would completely destroy the academic reputation he'd spent lifetimes building. Elorix coordinated with diplomatic contacts who could ensure information reached populations instead of getting intercepted by council censorship apparatus. Israel stood holding who'd come before him, probably asking questions that got dismissed as cultural ignorance, about all the civilizations maintaining historical myths that made them feel superior while burying evidence of actual developmental paths. About how sometimes the most important thing someone could do was point at something obviously wrong and refuse to pretend otherwise. For what it's worth, Pyrex said, securing final data transfers, "You did good work today, kid. Most beings spend entire lives avoiding uncomfortable truths. You walked straight into ceremony and kicked over the mythology everyone agreed to maintain. That takes either courage or stupidity, possibly both. Mostly stupidity," Israel admitted. "I just wanted to point out that a sword was balanced wrong, and in doing so, rebalanced galactic historical understanding." Elorix's whiskers twitched with something that might have been approval. Sometimes the most profound changes start with simple observations that everyone else agreed to ignore. Commander Nix began transmitting archived materials through secure channels that would distribute information faster than Council could suppress. Her tentacles moved with decisive purpose as she essentially committed administrative career termination in service of historical accuracy. Data transmission initiated across multiple networks. Independent verification groups will receive copies within hours. Academic oversight committees get access simultaneously. By tomorrow's rotation, this information will be too distributed to contain. The vault that had preserved uncomfortable truths for centuries now served as staging ground for their release. Israel carefully returned the human blade to its display mount, leaving it as evidence for researchers who would eventually examine everything once scandal erupted. The sword represented connection between past and present, proof that humanity's contribution to galactic civilization predated official acknowledgement by eons. As the group prepared to leave, Felgar paused at the vault entrance, taking final look at weapons that destroyed his academic career while revealing actual historical truth. His clicking carried tones that his translator rendered as acceptance, mixed with vindication. "I spent my life teaching reverence for legends that never existed. Perhaps now I can contribute to teaching actual history, uncomfortable though it may be. That seems worthwhile legacy." They ascended through maintenance corridors toward upper station levels, carrying evidence that would reshape galactic understanding of cultural development and interspecies contact. Behind them, the vault remained open, its secrets no longer sealed. Ahead, comfortable fictions would collapse under weight of documentation too substantial to dismiss. Israel still marveled at how asking one simple question about sword balance had cascaded into exposing centuries of historical revisionism. Sometimes, truth required nothing more than someone willing to point at obvious problems while everyone else pretended not to notice. The blades had been balanced wrong. Turned out, so had everything else. Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
The alarm systems across Zenith Prime Station screamed warnings that made no sense. Ambassador Thakren watched the main display with growing confusion as his four eyes tried to process what the sensors were telling him. Something massive was coming out of empty space, tearing through reality itself like paper being ripped apart. The object that emerged made the ambassador's blood run cold. It was a warship, larger than anything he had seen in his 300 years of service to the Galactic Council. Its hull was dark and scarred, covered in burns and impacts from weapons that shouldn't exist anymore. The metal looked ancient, corroded by time itself, yet the ship's engines still glowed with power. Strange symbols marked its side, his communicator with a trembling claw. "Get me the historical archives immediately. I need identification on this vessel." Around him, the council chamber erupted into chaos. Representatives from 847 different species began shouting questions and demands. Some called for military response. Others wanted to flee. The mantis-like ambassador raised his arms for silence, but nobody was listening anymore. The ancient warship hung in space like a ghost from a forgotten era. Its weapon systems were powered down, But every military analyst in the station could see the truth. Those guns were old, yes, but they were built with technology that modern science barely understood. If that ship decided to fight, Zenith Prime wouldn't survive the encounter. Then the transmission came through. The audio was broken and so old that the computer needed 17 seconds to find a translation matrix. When it did, the message played across every speaker in the station. This is the United Earth spaceship Indomitable, Terran Expeditionary Fleet. We are returning home after mission completion. Please provide current navigational coordinates for Earth, Sol System, Orion Arm. Requesting immediate assistance. Our crew is in critical condition. The silence that followed was absolute. Earth. Sol 3. The dead world. The planet that had destroyed itself in nuclear fire 20,000 years ago, leaving nothing but radioactive dust and broken cities. Every school child in the galaxy learned about Earth as a warning. A cautionary tale about what happened when a species discovered weapons before wisdom. But here was a ship, claiming to be from Earth, asking for directions home. Thakren made a decision. Open a channel. And someone wake up our linguist experts, all of them. It took 6 hours to establish proper communication. The ship's AI was sophisticated but ancient, operating on principles that modern computers had abandoned millennia ago. When the woman in the center wore a uniform that was falling apart at the seams. Her hair was gray and white, pulled back from a face with exhaustion. Her eyes were the color of Earth's ancient oceans, blue and deep and currently filled with confusion. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Indomitable. Who am I speaking with? Thakren stood straighter, trying to project calm authority while his minds raced with impossible questions. I am Ambassador Thakren of the Velkari capital station of the Galactic Council. Captain Chen, I must ask you a very important question. What year did you leave Earth? The woman glanced at someone off-screen, then back at the camera. We departed Earth in the year 22,314 by the common calendar. Our mission was a 500-year expedition to establish first contact with civilizations in the Outer Rim. We've been gone for 532 years, but we ran into some problems with a dark space anomaly. Why are you asking? 500 years. They thought they had been gone for 500 years. Thakren felt a wave of pity wash over him. How could he tell them? How could anyone deliver this kind of news? Captain Chen, I'm afraid I have some very difficult information to share with you. The current year by the old Earth calendar is 42,831. You haven't been gone for 500 years. You've been gone for 20,517 years. The woman's face went white. Behind her, someone cursed loudly. A third voice, male and shaking, said something that the translator couldn't process properly. Chen gripped the edges of her command chair so hard her knuckles turned white. That's impossible. Our clocks, our systems, everything says we've only been gone for 5 centuries. How can 20,000 years have passed? Dark space anomalies can cause severe temporal distortion, Thakren explained gently. You experience time at one rate while the universe continued at another. Captain, there's something else you need to know. According to our historical records, Earth was destroyed approximately 18,000 years ago. The planet is listed as uninhabitable, a dead world consumed by nuclear war. The silence stretched on for 10 full seconds. Then Captain Chen's expression changed. The shock disappeared, replaced by something harder. Something that made Thakren remember that this woman commanded a warship that could probably level his entire station. Ambassador, Chen said softly, your records are wrong. I'm looking at our long-range sensors right now, and I can see the Sol system from here. Earth's biosignature is strong. The planet is alive. Someone has been living on my home world, and I want to know who. The signal cut off before Thakren could respond. In the silence that followed, every being in the council chamber understood what had just happened. They had told these ancient humans that their world was dead. They had lied, whether intentionally or not. And now a 20,000-year-old warship was heading for Earth, with a crew that had just learned their entire civilization should be extinct. Thakren looked at the readings coming from the Indomitable's power systems and made another decision. Prepare my personal ship. I'm going with them. And someone tell me everything we really know about what happened to Earth, because something tells me the official story is about to fall apart. The journey to Earth should have taken 3 weeks with modern drives. The Indomitable needed 6 because its engines were running on technology that predated most of the species in the Galactic Council. Captain, you should see this. That was Marcus Webb, her chief engineer. He looked terrible, with dark circles under his eyes and hands that shook when he thought nobody was watching. Marcus had a daughter back on Earth, or at least he used to. Now that daughter had been dead for 20,000 years, and Marcus was barely holding himself together. Sarah walked over to his station. What do you have? I've been going through our long-range database, cross-referencing it with the information Ambassador Thakren provided. 3 of the colonies we were supposed to visit are gone. Not destroyed exactly, but empty. 3 of the colonies we were supposed to visit are gone. Not destroyed exactly, but empty. The infrastructure is still there, but there's no life, no power signatures, nothing. Just ruins. The screen showed images of dead cities on airless worlds. Buildings that had once housed thousands of humans now stood silent under alien stars. Sarah felt something cold settle in her chest. What happened to them? Thakren approached, his multiple legs making soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. The official records say these colonies were abandoned during the resource wars of the 35th millennium. But Captain, I've been reviewing the historical archives more carefully. The timeline doesn't match. These colonies went silent thousands of years before the supposed wars began. Sarah met his compound eyes. You think someone is lying about our history? I think someone has been lying about humanity's history for a very long time. Dr. Amara Okonkwo emerged from the medical bay where she had been reviewing biological samples. Ships